This is your Barbados Today Evening News Update for Thursday, July 25th. So glad you can join us. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. Shocked and hurt. Teachers and students of the Coleridge and Parry School have been rocked by the tragic death of Cornelius Barrow, who perished in a fire with his 2 infant children yesterday. This morning, when Barbados Today visited the St. Peter institution, several distraught members of staff and teary-eyed students were receiving counseling sessions as they struggled to come to grips with the loss. Deputy Principal Captain Rodney Millington described Barrow as a dedicated teacher.
So generally speaking, he was a member of staff who was very, very consistent in terms of his punctuality and attendance, very reliable, one who the students would have worked very closely with. He was a very keen and caring individual who would have often spoken to students who had a particular need or a challenge. He would have sought out those students if they had any difficulty and been able to help them through counsel or any other thing. So that was kind of person, a very caring individual, as I said, and he was sorely missed.
Meanwhile, Pastor Dr. David Durant of Restoration Ministries, who counsels families that experience tragedy, is calling on Barbadians to pray for the grieving relatives of the 3 lives lost in yesterday's tragic fire. He also appealed for special support for Giovanna Johnson Barrow, the mother of the 2 infants who perished.
We all have to really empathize and sympathize with the family, at this point in time, what they are facing, this kind of a tragedy, and offer them our support as a community, and most of all, our prayers, for God's strength and God's comfort, and also the peace of God at this point in time, because they will need that, the peace of God. Because situations like this can just cause everything. It can shake up every part of your life.
In other news this Thursday, Cabinet has approved a new policy which will make it easier for organ transplants to be done here in Barbados. Health and Wellness Minister Lieutenant Colonel Jeffrey Bostic made the announcement at today's post-Cabinet press briefing.
And this is very important. This is long in coming. The doctors have been asking for it. It is something that will be very beneficial to those persons who have been experiencing certain difficulties, especially in relation to NCDs. I can say to you that over the last 30 years or so, about 19 transplantations have been done here at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. So it's not that we do not have the experience or the expertise, but the availability of donors to donate the organs, that has been a problem. And so this policy, which was approved by Cabinet and has now to go before the Chief Parliamentary Council so that the necessary legislation can be drafted, so that it will go to Parliament and it will become legal, and it will enhance this entire process and make life easier for a number of persons in Barbados.
Local nurses have already been hired to ease the acute nurse shortage at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, and interviews are continuing. Minister Bostic also revealed that the recruitment of nurses from Ghana will begin in a few weeks. He said a 6-member team will be headed to the African country to conduct the process.
This team is ready to go and shall be traveling to Ghana between the 13th and the 26th of August 2019. So that exercise is well on the way. We've already made contact through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs with authorities in Ghana, and the delegation is expected, first of all, to examine, especially through the Nursing Council representative, the system in Ghana in terms of certification and registration, so that we are all on the same sheet of music, and then the recruiting process will commence, and we expect that we will yield some good fruit. from this exercise.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To regional news now, public servants in St. Lucia are set to receive a long-awaited lump sum pay this month. We get the details in this HTS News report.
The government's negotiating team, GNT, has concluded negotiations with public sector unions and staff associations on salaries and terms and conditions, with the final agreements for the periods April 1st, 2016 to March 31st, 2019 and April 1st, 2019 to March 31st, 2022 to be finalized. Julian Monrose, president of the St. Lucia Teachers Union, addressed teachers on the developments.
That the employer would make every effort to pay the lump sum, increased pay and retroactive pay by July 2019 pay date.
And on the international scene, the U.S. Justice Department today reinstated a 2 decades-long dormant policy allowing the federal government to resume capital punishment. It immediately scheduled the executions of 5 death row federal inmates.
They expect that they're going to be able to start these executions in December. Now, this is a process that began at the beginning of the Trump administration under Jeff Sessions, the Attorney General at the time, and he ordered the Bureau of Prisons to look into how to be able to restart federal executions. There's been a whole controversy over the protocols, especially the drugs that are used to put people to death under the death penalty. States have started using a new protocol, and so what the feds are doing now under this new order from Bill Barr, the new Attorney General, is they're going to adopt essentially the same protocol that's being used in Georgia and other states that have resumed executions. The Obama administration had essentially just given up on using any of these. So we expect that in December we're going to get the first of these new federal executions, barring, of course, any new legal appeals that may come forward. We expect in December and January we're going to have these 5 people executed.
And that's news. But for the very latest, visit us at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media and bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. And you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. Good evening.